So recently, Lily Gao, the voice of Ada Wong, was bullied off her social media for the direction she took on the character in Resident Evil 4's remake. And while myself and many others didn't really resonate with her portrayal of the character, and not even gonna lie, I regret saying that she sounded like she was waiting for the bus the entire game. I apologize, Lily Gao, that was wrong. With that said, I really think the blame really falls on Capcom's shoulders, and that's where we need to direct our attention. Almost all the Resident Evil cast goes through drastic changes throughout the game series because Capcom chooses not to be consistent with their voice actors. Jill in Resident Evil to Resident Evil 3 to Revelations to Resident Evil 5 almost feel like 4 different characters. So by the time Resident Evil 3's remake came along, I felt bad for the voice actress trying to weave all these different portrayals of the character together. It's a very tall order given the different versions of the character there are. As for Chris and Leon, they also started off very different from the versions that most fans know nowadays. With the fans feeling Paul Mercer and Roger Craig Smith embody the characters the most. Despite the changes over the years, Capcom doesn't always bring them back. But I think the biggest crime to Capcom has done to the Resident Evil franchise is removing Allison Court as the voice of Claire Redfield. Court voiced Claire Redfield from 1998 to 2012 and added many contributions to the character we know today. And despite being told she would come back to voice the character, she was dropped. And from what I was heard, the Japanese branch of Capcom actually gave her an apology because they found that very disrespectful, and they recognized how much she brought to the character. And given how much Capcom is invested in the Resident Evil brand and its characters, and given how much the fans are invested in these characters, and given how much the game industry needs to support voice actors and show that they are important and not treat them as if they're disposable, I think this squarely falls on Capcom's shoulders for not giving us consistent voices for these characters because it's probably cheaper. And honestly, if Ada and many other characters sounded the way they did from the jump, I doubt the reaction would be that critical, given we're consuming a product that can feel all over the place at times. This is why a lot of people reacted the way they did, and I'm not excusing any of the bullying, because I can't believe people went to her social media page just to talk smack. That's wild. And while many say the Resident Evil brand is about gameplay, I beg to differ. Some of the fans are really invested in these characters, and for anyone who's played the Resident Evil games, they know there's no guarantee that these characters you'll see them again. Characters like Billy, Shiva, Carlos, Alex, Jessica, Moira, the Outbreak cast are all MIA. So I kinda get why people get very invested in these characters and their stories matter so much to these people. And we're really kind of obsessed sometimes. Not to excuse any of the bullying, but we really represent for our characters. With that said, it's sad to see someone a part of the Resident Evil family get bullied away like this. But it's wild that so many people went to her page to the point where she just, a moment you think she'd be celebrating right now, she's completely just shut down, and that's just so unfortunate that would happen to anybody. And I understand on one hand this is something that's we paid for and we consumed and should have valid constructive criticism, but there's a complete difference from harassing this poor woman on her social media pages. Like, get it together, Resident Evil fandom. And also, Capcom really needs to get it together too, whether it's by paying these voice actors better or giving them better voice direction or being more consistent with these characters or with the voice acting equipment. Because this is an instant that could have been completely avoided, and given all of Capcom's resources and how much money this brand brings in, there's no excuse. Get it together, Capcom, and Lily Gao, girl, you're gonna be alright. Don't let these haters get to you, girl. Jinx, signing out.